Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now.
Hello world, I'm just Peepin1 and this is the lockergnome Daily Report. Your daily dose of geek news, gadget views and answers that you can use.
Like an answer to the question, what is Chris Pirillo doing in his parents' basement with his dad, who is turning 70 years old? So happy birthday, Dad.
Thank you, and I'm glad you're here.
Yes, and we surprised him today, and you will see that whole experience in the Pirillo vlog. I am in my parents' basement right now. This is the pinnacle of doing a YouTube video. In fact, I was looking for where I could shoot this today, and I was thinking, can I do it in the living room, in the front room, in my old bedroom? And I came down here, I set the camera up, and I'm like, this is it. I'm doing it in my parents' basement. So earlier on social, I asked you, the community, what questions you would have for Dad. Now, he's answered a lot of questions with videos in the past, so I tried to cherry pick through the questions that I know he hasn't answered, or certainly ones that I think would be interesting to hear answers for, including a question I had of my own. Okay. I'm of the mindset, I believe, that Dad should be doing more political videos on YouTube, and he kind of goes back and forth because he knows it could be incendiary. I mean, you can start flame wars without even knowing it. But he's got a lot of very strong views, which is how, I mean, it's part of being Italian. I think it's part of being a Pirillo. I mean, come on, you can't watch my videos and not think that, you know, I don't have strong views one way or the other. So when news broke recently in relation to Prism and a lot of major corporations releasing data that you thought was private, but, you know, I've explained to you over and over and over again, you give something to somebody else, it's really theirs. You're living on borrowed time. And so I wanted to ask my dad what he thinks about the NSA spying on us effectively and not really having much of a filter, but having access to the data that we put out there knowingly, but also unknowingly. You know, a Google search may seem benign, but that could be used against us. So what do you think about one of our government agencies using that data to harm us when we haven't done anything wrong?
That's a good question. Now, you told me to project that way, right? Can
Yes.
I do this so they can hear me?
Yes.
Can y'all hear me?
Just make sure you project it, because you tend to
Okay.
talk softly.
Yeah, I'm a soft talker. Yeah, this whole NSA thing is, I guess it didn't surprise me. The more technology goes, the more people are going to find ways to use it to find information about us. Let's face it, that's what Google does, that's what Facebook does, that's what all these Instagram, they all do it. And if they're not doing it, they soon will. I guess the reason it doesn't surprise me, because our last presidential campaign basically ran their campaign based on data mining. They went out and found out what people were doing, and they used that same thing.
But they were transparent about that.
To whom?
I mean, to this was public knowledge that after it was done, they did data mining, yes.
After it was done. I think if a lot of people knew that was being done at the time, they may have changed their outlook. And when this whole NSA, like the gentleman, and you have to forgive me, I don't know his name, I'm not even sure what country he's in yet. But,
Snowden?
Yeah, Snowden, that's him. But is he a hero or is he a traitor? You know, we want people to bring these kinds of things to our attention, yet it seems like we want to prosecute this young man for what he's telling us the government's doing. Who's right? I'm not sure I know that answer yet.
Fair enough. And I wasn't asking for a judgment call necessarily, but, you know, I figured you'd have thoughts on it, if only because I know part of your resistance to the cloud is that you're giving data away.
Yeah, security. And the more I find out, you know, it's like now around here they're using patrol cars with cameras. Now they have license identifications. Now the big thing here, they have special licenses that have been issued by our DOT, Department of Transportation, to various officials that can't be traced. So when it goes by one of these cameras that identifies a license, these licenses can't be traced. Now, to give you an idea who would have these kind of licenses, one would be our governor, which I really understand. But there's 6,300 people in the state of Iowa that have such license. And I don't think there's that many people in the state that should have that. No one's above the law. So they should live by the same things we live by.
And these are serious technology topics. And again, I wanted to take the opportunity to dive a little deeper first, if only to, kind of cover the topic, because I haven't really talked about it that much in this
It's a
channel.
little frustrating.
Well, yeah, because I think, like, what can you do, right? What can you do?
There's an old saying, if you can't beat them, join them. So eventually, they're watching me anyway, so why am I worried about the cloud? Don't know.
So we're going to swing from serious to silly. Anton De Villiers asks, do you like bacon?
I love bacon. In fact, I saw a picture, and I'm not sure what was inside it, but it was a cup with the bacon.
Yes.
And what was inside that? Yeah.
I don't know if it was beer or
I think what it should be is eggs, like scrambled eggs inside.
No.
Then you'd have bacon and eggs.
No. See, bacon and eggs is old school. You got to mix bacon with everything else.
Oh.
You got to think outside the bacon.
I'm gonna think inside the egg.
Okay.
I like eggs and bacon.
All right.
I love bacon.
Alex,
both Canadian as well as American.
the British bacon was pretty good, though.
I haven't tried that.
Yeah, if you can get a hold of it, it's
the bacon,
really
some
good.
kind of bacon drink. You had a drink that was bacon flavored or something.
Stay away from anything that's
I
bacon flavored. That's my recommendation
Or
on that.
bacon ice cream or any of that kind of
Bacon
stuff.
ice cream's good
Is
because
that
they
good?
put real bacon in it.
So stay away from things you don't like, but if he likes it, it's okay.
Okay, Dad, the camera's up there.
Up here, this
I know.
one?
Yeah, he's talking to himself.
Project watch.
Alex Firth asks, what one gadget would you take with you to a deserted island?
Well, if my wife was a gadget, I'd bring her.
I don't think she counts.
Oh, okay. So you're talking electronic.
Yeah, something like a gadget.
Well, would I have internet access?
Assume no. You're on a deserted island.
If I don't have internet access, I guess I would take and I wouldn't have electricity. That'd be in trouble because everything you have needs to be recharged.
You know what I would take?
I'd take my phone.
A phone would be good, like a smartphone.
Yeah.
But I would specifically take a digital camera.
Well, yeah, that's what I said. I'd take my smartphone.
Well, sure, but specifically
hello?
because of the digital camera feature, not just because it's a smartphone.
Yeah.
Because what could you do with the smartphone? You play with some spreadsheets and type up some email.
Yeah.
But if you take pictures or video of what's going on in your experience, at least you have the opportunity to potentially pass that on to someone who might discover it.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if I know enough about science where I could create my own battery that would run it.
I do not. You did not impart any of this knowledge to me.
Well, that's really old school.
Yeah, I know, but instead I was made to play Little League, and
You hit one foul ball.
yeah, I did.
Got a standing ovation.
I don't think I was made to play Little League. You made me not quit, though.
That's exactly right. Once you started something, you had to finish.
Yep.
He even played tackle football in 8th grade.
Yeah.
He was the smallest
I wanted
guy
to quit
in
that
the whole
one.
league.
Son of a-
he got creamed pretty well.
Oh,
but
God. No, I
made him
ran
stick
away.
It out. I made him
didn't.
stick it out.
Obviously, sports are not for me. The next question from Steven Scott. Will you ever get a Chromebox?
I got a lot of chrome on my motorcycle, and I got this little chrome box around my battery. Is that what you mean?
I think that says it all, if only because you have no idea what a Chromebox is,
No,
do you? You've
I
never
know.
heard of a Chromebox.
But I'm going to guess, I'd just be guessing,
Mhm.
because they have Google Chrome, so it
Okay.
relates to Google somehow.
Yes, it does. But that's all
I
I'm
don't
going
know
to
what
tell
it
you.
is.
Right, exactly. So he is 99.9% of consumers. No, I would go even further. Almost 100% of consumers have no idea what a Chromebox is. None whatsoever. In fact, I'm shocked that you knew Chrome, but only
Yeah,
probably
because
because
I
I
use it.
helped, I said, kind of pushed you along
I use
using
Chrome. I use Chrome on my laptop.
Right. So
I
that's
still use Google on my PC.
which is fine. I mean, as long as you're using it, I think you're.
But you
better
are
off.
right. I listened to you in that PCs are getting harder and harder to find.
They are in
Yeah,
stores.
Yeah.
I'm not. People they think I have it out for the PC. I'm like, you don't understand. It's like I'm just telling you,
They're
this is what's
disappearing.
going on.
Well, phones make it so much easier.
Listen to this. Why?
Because,
And we're talking about smartphones, not just like the
yeah,
rotary dial,
Yeah.
that we
That's-
have upstairs.
I like the terminology Chris used a while about pocket computer. That way, it's all the phones. You don't get into this iPhone,
Android, Windows Phone,
yeah, all those
BlackBerry.
different phones, Windows, yeah, all the different phones. They're all pocket computers because they can virtually do everything that I've been able to do on my computer. Now, for me, as I get older, it gets a little more difficult because of the size of the screen. But at the same time, I love it for email because I can check my email. I usually check it first thing in the morning, around noontime, then around 5 o'clock right before the news. And I stay on top of it instead of waiting to once a day like I used to do. And I'd have all my junk in there. And this way I could kill off the junk and keep my email pretty clean and get back to people as quick as I can.
All right. In a related, I guess, question, Ben Jenkin asks, what do you think of Apple products? You mentioned iPhone. You're an iPhone user.
I use the iPhone, and I love the iPhone. I love the iPad. I have one. I use the iPad mostly for searching, again, because I could use my phone, and I do it in what I would say in a pinch, like if I'm traveling or I don't have my iPad or I can't get online with my iPad. I'll use my phone to do searches, but it gets harder and harder to see just only because I'm getting older. But a iPad, what I see is bigger, so it's easier to read and easier to look up.
But what do you think about Apple products in general?
I like them. I think they're easy to I was afraid initially of the first thing I got was the iPad. No, the iPhone. And I tried a few things, and I thought, no, I ain't going to do this. And I'd ask Chris questions, and he basically wouldn't give me the answer.
I said, just do it.
Yeah, that's what he said. Just do it.
Just do it.
And so that's what I got tired of asking him and getting the same answer all the time. So, no, he does answer me, so don't take that wrong.
Yeah, I just go and copy and paste from a web page. Like, how do I do X, Y, and Z? I'm like, I Google it, copy, paste, and like
that is the one piece of advice I've really followed now, because now I find myself telling other people that. They'll say, well, how do you do this? And I say, well, I'm not real sure. Google it. So you can just go or Google it or ask or
it's Google. Forget it's Google.
Or all the others.
Yeah, it's all and all the others.
Bing.
Yeah, right.
Bing.
Michael Owens asks.
Yeah, no, so Microsoft's trying to become Apple, and Apple's trying to become Microsoft, and somewhere they're going to end up in the middle and be about the same.
Kind of what's happening. Actually, Google, I think, is taking Microsoft's thunder more than Apple is at this stage. But each of these companies has a completely different business model and a different approach to the marketplace. Fundamentally different.
But it's getting further and further away from this. Now, I'm not sure what all the difference is, but like Microsoft products, you still find a large amount of that entrenched in business. Unless it's a business in like commercial art or
something web-based.
Yeah, something web-based, or then it becomes more Apple. But the business world's pretty well entrenched in Windows, and quite frankly, not very many of them have gone to Windows 8, as best I know.
Joshua Arnold asks, "Will you ever switch from Windows?" So we're just kind of rolling down the.
As long as Windows is around, and as long as I understand it, and as long as I'm not forced into that change, I would probably stick with Windows only because I'm familiar with it. But in a way, that's not completely true, because I just told you how much I like my iPhone and how much I like my iPad. So I'm kind of doing a mixture, and so I'm kind of, I don't know if the right word, I'm learning by osmosis maybe, because I'm actually doing things and
experiential learning.
Yeah, and then I'm not as afraid to break my iPad or my iPhone. Like whenever I'd get on my desktop, I was afraid if I pushed the wrong button, I'd break something or mess something up. But I don't have that fear with the phone or the iPad.
You're answering a question that was about to be asked by Rutger Rauws. Did technology ever scare you? If so, what and why? And I think you're speaking to it. You were afraid of Windows because you knew that there were so many nuts and bolts and screws and shims and hacks to make it work the way it needed to work. And if it stopped working, your PC was dead.
Yeah, no, that's right. No, I don't think I've ever really been afraid of any kind of technology, excluding what's going on now, like we started the conversation with NSA and those kinds of things, and speed cameras and being watched all over the place. Bottom line is Big Brother is here. And George Orwell's Big Brother, he's here. And you can see where that's been an advantage with the Boston bombing, how quick they were able to find things because of all those cameras. That's good then. But when it's looking at me, I don't like it. See, and that's how we are. As long as it's someone else, it doesn't bother you. But if it's me,
So that's
but I'm not afraid of technology. That
right.
was
But that's
but
that's where technology scares you, is the fact that Big Brother.
how they use it against me.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
You're guilty until proven innocent.
Right, and I've always been very concerned about technology, especially with our own family. Now, my son likes to give his grandfather a lot of credit because of why he's a geek. But what he forgets is I always had the latest gaming and computers.
Well, we had
Here in the
no.
house.
I said Atari, but Grandpa had the VIC 20. He had the VIC 20 before we had the C64.
No, I had an IBM, but you couldn't touch it.
No, oh, maybe that was it.
I had a
No,
business
really?
computer. Yeah, and I
I don't
had an
remember.
IMSI, what we call an IMSI, an 8080,
8086?
8080.
Oh, wow.
And it was a processor. It had a teletype printer.
Yeah.
We used to keep it in this room over here. And
No
I used
idea.
to keep books on it. It had the big floppy
Right.
disks.
No. Like,
Not the little,
no. I
not
know.
the
I
little
know.
slide, but them things
No,
were
I
like
remember.
records. I mean,
Huge.
they were like the old records. You'd have
Yeah.
2 drives,
Yeah.
and you'd be pushing it, this
Oh,
one
man.
and this one, and you had to know which one
Oh,
went where.
man.
And
Oh.
64K. So yeah, it was,
So wait, but
we had
okay,
always
but
had-
if I could, honestly, I had no idea.
I
We didn't
knew.
have, but no, we had PCs or clones,
Yeah.
as we used to call them back
Yeah,
in the day,
yeah.
PC clones or IBM clones. We had those, and I remember being able to play with that.
Yeah.
It was upstairs in the dining room. Not,
Oh yeah, that was
not
a
the one down
Commodore.
here.
That was a Commodore.
No, that was not a Commodore. It was a clone.
Oh,
You had
okay,
accounting
yeah,
software.
Yeah. It was when where I worked, I had to have one at
Yeah,
home.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was.
But that I had no idea we had another computer down here.
yeah. An 8080, which was a predecessor of the PCs.
Yeah, the 8086 or the X86
Yeah.
string.
IMSI is what IMASI, I want to say, is what it was. You can look that up and Google it. It's there because I Googled it.
Louis Serrano asks, I had no idea until this very moment. I had no idea we had a computer like that powerful. I don't know what I would have been able to do with it. But.
I could see that was going to affect business, and if it affect business, I knew eventually it would affect households. In fact, two of the original ideas I had before all the explosion in the internet and everything.
Chocolate banana.
Well, I'm talking more technology oriented. I wanted to put what I had.
Selling used cars online.
Used cars online and recipes. I wanted to go in and put like everything you had in your cupboard. And so if you wanted to make something, you'd plug that in and it would go see if you had it in your cupboard. So it would keep a perpetual inventory. I wanted to have that done before anybody did either one of those.
It's a good idea. And I don't think it's happened yet.
I think they do. I think someone has that food one.
It happened.
Doesn't work very good.
Yeah, it's not the idea, it's the execution. Louis Serrano asks, how much do you pay for internet access?
Okay, internet access. What do I pay? For my local, I'm with local. I mean in the house, which is wireless. I use used to be Quest.
You have an access
CenturyLink.
point. Yeah, you have an access point, but you have DSL at home.
Yeah.
So
Well,
for
12,
DSL, how much?
It's 12 meg.
Yeah. For DSL, how much do you pay?
For that, I'm paying $60. Well, no, it might be a little less, about $55, $60 a month. That's what I pay.
Wow, I would switch to cable because at the same price you could probably get.
Well, but cable, when the tube gets full, it slows down here.
It does. That is true. I mean, that's part of the technology.
Mine stays pretty constant. And
Yeah.
at the time, I didn't want to put wires into the house.
But okay,
underground.
You already have cable. We've had cable come into the house. They just use the same.
But they cut that cable, and they would have had to rebarrel the cable. And at that
Really?
time, yeah.
Oh, that's.
And because I use, and if I get cable, then I'm going to put my TV and everything on it.
Right.
But right now, because we have an RV, I have to have direct TV so I can have it. They don't make a cable long enough to drive in my RV and keep the cable hooked.
Not so much. Now, speaking of being on the road, the last question, Shane Clarke asks, what's the fastest car you've driven? That's the last question.
Well, I wonder if the NSA is. Can the police?
What are they going to do? What are they going to do?
Yeah, it's probably way past the.
Isn't there statute of limitations? Yeah.
Well, I had several what they used to call muscle cars. The first one was a 67 Camaro. The next one was a 69 Camaro. And the next one was a 70 Chevelle. And this was before I got married. I had all three of those brand new. I bought every year would get a car. And they were all convertibles. The 69 was the one I drove the fastest. And I got it close to 100 miles an hour.
Wow.
Coming home from California.
Well, I mean, that's tame by today's standards.
Well, it wasn't so wasn't so tame in those days. Because keep in mind, even though you can, from now, if I did, and I have done it, drive from here to California, it's all interstate.
Yeah.
Well, then when I drove it, you'd have interstate for a while, and then it would go down to 2 lanes, and it would go back out to and then back to 2 lanes. So it went back and forth. So you'd have to make time.
But did you have speed limits?
Well, yeah, you always had speed limits. Back then, I don't even know what it was. Maybe 65. It seems to me was, but now it's 75 an hour.
Yeah, yeah.
So
especially
out in
on
Montana,
stretches, yeah.
I don't think Montana's not wide open anymore either. Used to be.
Yeah. See, I remember some states.
Montana used to be, but I don't think it is anymore.
So wow,
100 miles an hour is the fastest. But I've also had my motorcycle going up to 100 miles an hour.
God, that takes guts.
Well, you didn't know it. I mean, you didn't feel it until you look at the speedometer.
Right, and then you see
then
that
you
you're
realize,
going 100.
Better
Get your finger off the
then you slow down.
finger off the throttle.
Yep.
The finger, the
Throttle.
Yeah, that was the throttle. Sorry, I'm out of frame. I took the motorcycle class. Dad teaches motorcycle safety.
Yeah, and
In fact,
I'm teaching one this weekend.
I think, what was it? You did a couple of videos, I think, in this channel about motorcycle safety or something rather. You guys.
Oh yeah, we had a task force deal, and I had a couple telling them what we did at the task force.
No, it wasn't just that. It was something else. It wasn't in the vlog. It was in like a tech video, like a way back when, like it was years ago at my house in Seattle. So I'm going to be in my parents' basement. They pretty much locked me down here, really.
Well, we're getting even because when we visit him, he puts us in his
I do
basement.
not do that at all. But I will be roaming around. We'll be doing plenty of things with the vlog camera. But I will be here for the next week or so. We've got some great friends who are helping us with Wicket and Pixie back home, and I'm grateful for that. So I can check in on them, and everything is fine on the home front. I will be celebrating my 40th birthday here in Iowa, where I was born. So that will be happening in a week after Dad was born. And that was 70 years ago. So happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Here's to another 70.
And 40.
Yeah, you're damn right.
We're 110.
Together, if you didn't know the math thing. All right, so let's go ahead and let these nice people go.
Good night.
Thanks for liking and sharing this video. Hopefully you remembered to do that. And if not, well, come on, it's his birthday. It's the least you could do. We'll see you later. 3 fingers. 3.